I think that worked. Okay.
We'll see.
It's episode 70. Inane Blather.
Numero 70? Is that right?
Only
I
70.
wasn't sure.
The only show that can bring joy to those who can be described as
He is cold, hollow, and violent.
but yeah, I mean it's a show for head-bonked individuals. It's a show you listen to if
You're pooping the bed?
and it's also a show if you're
Awesome.
so, because really it's the
It's a wide range.
yes, it's the best way to relate to I mean as an amalgamation, people who are
Headstrong, stubborn, quibbling, self-centered, vindictive, obnoxious, hormonal, sexually preoccupied, evil, thieving, cross-dressing jerks.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
how are you doing, Natalie? We've been hanging out for like an hour before recording
Yeah.
here,
And we
and
hung
I
out this
still
weekend.
haven't asked you. How are you doing?
Yeah. Don't care. Save it for the podcast.
Don't tell me your feelings.
I'm good. You know, I just got home from a long weekend over on the other side of to mountains.
Over on my side of the
visiting-
mountains.
Visiting family, going to a funeral,
Yes.
so on and so forth, etc. So I'm kinda,
No,
exactly. That's how I'm feeling. I had a long drive home. Traffic on the pass because of stupid accident. Yeah, but
I hope they died.
That's exactly what I said.
Sometimes I know
No, it looked.
that is
It was
what
a
you said.
really bad accident.
Oh, no.
The entire lane of the
Ugh.
highway was closed on I-90, and it's really bad. So that was annoying for
Yeah.
me.
You're like, I just left a funeral. Gross. Jeez.
Oh my god.
No.
Yeah, no, it was that but that took a long time to get home. It's a long drive. It was raining so incredibly hard on
Really?
the drive home. It was so like in the you know what it's like, this mountain pass when it's pouring
Yeah.
rain and there's trucks, there's semis, there's just the water is really wet. The road is really wet and
Okay,
it's just
Trump.
spraying up on your windshield. Yeah. Water, it's really wet.
And biggest in terms of wetness. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially with the trucks.
Just
and,
kind of
and
a-
if you're trying to pass anyone, and it's like, well, I'm not going to not pass this truck. I can't sit here behind it.
And it's like
And
in
then-
the day, so it's like, and it's overcast, so there's like your headlights do absolutely, there's nothing. It's just
Yeah.
gray. Everything's just gray with water just spraying up, and everyone's going like 70 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So
Driving in
it's,
Olympia, oh man, there are times where it's like, I mean, there's just those 1 second spaces where you're not even driving.
see anything.
You just have your hands
yeah.
on the wheel, and it's just splash like you're driving underwater.
Or
It
hydroplaning.
sucks. Yeah, you get a little hydroplane action. I'd be
So it's
driving
like,
like my freaking 2000 Saturn SL2. Oh man, driving
yeah.
up next to huge trucks and stuff like that on I-5 when it's raining so hard. And it's just like, I don't know how. It's like, this is just dangerous. It's just straight up dangerous. I'm just trying to get to work at a job that I hate. Like, come on. Just let me get to my
Yeah.
job and die on the way home. So I get a few more hours of a paycheck going to my loved ones.
funeral expenses.
Yeah, to go to funeral expenses,
Paying
and
off my debts.
hiring the guy that's in my will to go clear my browser history before my family finds out
I already
died.
told Emily, get a hold of my phone.
Yes, exactly. This will be my passcode.
You hold on to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Just no passcode. Just burn it all, and
Yeah.
and no
You
one
don't
will
need
ever
what's on there.
reach my
Yeah.
Google account. And yeah, that's what we talk about here.
This is politics.
But
Yeah, very much.
yeah, it was actually, I'm sure it was raining because, we're always just a day or two behind here, and it rained today over on this side, and it was perfect timing because I still have a couple more lawn mowings left in the year. It still hasn't frozen or anything. And
What? Ew.
oh yeah, the grass is growing.
Oh, I know. At Dad's house, it's like emerald green.
Yes.
Their lawn looks
Very
incredible this time of the
green.
year.
Yeah. And yeah, I was trying to plan my day off I was like, I'm going to have to mow the lawn like first thing in the morning. It was like 56 degrees outside. And because it was going to start raining at noon or something. And it was perfect though. I finished mowing. I just started trimming around the edges and it just started raining on me. I was like, oh, thank God. Thank God, this is what I wanted, rain. but it worked out well.
You were at the church or your house?
At the church.
That's why you were thanking God.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, Lord. Thank you, Lord. No, it didn't rain that hard or anything, but I can only imagine. If it rains at all here, then it was really nasty over there the day before.
Going over the pass was like,
oh, boy.
oh, boy.
Yeah, well.
Anyways.
Let's go to Doug.
Wow, that's
Doug
loud.
is the guy you go to around here.
Holy moly. I wonder how loud this one is.
I love Karl
No,
Marx.
that's perfect. So
The perfect quote, the perfect volume.
yes, exactly. Okay, I don't even have my notes open or anything here. So all this stuff going on. We're not going to talk about Israel Palestine on this show. I mean, in terms of like
Follow
discussion,
our Instagram.
yeah, because you're all on our side. Call me a terrorist.
We're all on
I
the
don't
side
give a
of
shit.
human rights.
Exactly, which is why, the the state of Israel needs to stop doing what they're doing. 1,000%.
We all know it.
That's
all know it. For everybody's sake.
And
Sake.
It's really unfortunate that we're in a small minority of American voices. I'm not saying like with our voices because of our huge platform. No, I mean of just of the American people in terms of voicing an opinion on it. Just that, man, it's just really crazy. All I'll say is that it is interesting. It's wild just to see war propaganda crafted in real time, especially nowadays with how it works on the internet, because so much of what's going on reminds me of post 9/11. And I mean, I was in
13?
a teenager, but I was a nerd, so I kind of, followed along with stuff or read the news and things like that. My parents had NPR on, crap like that. So,
yeah.
And, I was going through the voters pamphlets before I could vote. I was that kind of nerd. But, yeah. But it's just...
when you don't have friends. Yeah.
The way that you can see this stuff spread on, like, Twitter and stuff, and things get to the fucking, like, propaganda get to the fucking president of the United States. It's really just wild. And it's disgusting is what it is. But I just don't really want to go into an hour of preaching to the choir and getting really mad because it just turns my stomach into knots all day long. Like, just war crimes and civilian deaths. It's disgusting.
On that topic, I sent you earlier a quote from Ron DeSantis saying that about this is... But don't worry, said that if he became president, he would not allow Palestinians from Gaza inside the country as refugees. And this is a quote from DeSantis. Quote, "If you look at how they behave," well, my phone just, okay. "If you look at how they behave, not all of them are Hamas, but they are all anti-Semitic."
That's so stupid.
And it's so fucking unbelievably racist and stupid. And I just, obviously, we could just go on and on about like what a horrible thing that is to say. But I was thinking about like,
also,
bro, do you
besides
know
the fact that Arab people are Semitic peoples.
Yeah. I mean, like we could just go on and on and on. But the thing that I think about is like, that quote's could be like associated with you, like for the rest of your life. Like the things that you say, like as a public official, like there's records of them. What do you want to be known for? Like when you're dead, I think about that often about like what their Wikipedia page will look like. And it made me think of course, our man Rush Limbaugh and all the great things and stuff that he said. Like I was looking up, because I was thinking it would be nice to have like a compilation of all the horrible things that people say, like that you can't associate with these. Like, it's like, look at the things that they say. Like, what the fuck? He just straight up said that all Palestinian people are anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
Every single one. That's literally, he just said it. And obviously we have all these Trump quotes calling places shitholes or whatever, blah, blah, blah. So it made me think of Rush Limbaugh when he said that we as Americans are owed reparations from the Native Americans for introducing them to tobacco. So I looked it up to look up the exact quote, and I saw that the New York Times actually had a little thing that it's a little short article that's Rush Limbaugh, in his own words, a collection of comments from the latest recipient of the Presidential Medal of Freedom. And so I was looking through some of, I was like, oh, they already did what I was thinking about, a compilation. So some of them are like,
Nice.
let's see, like the NAACP should have riot rehearsal. They should get a liquor store and
my
practice
God.
robberies.
Yeah.
Or the NFL all too often looks like a game between the Bloods and the Crips without any weapons.
That's a classic
there, I
Rush
said it.
one. Yeah.
And feminism was established so that unattractive, ugly broads could have easy access to the mainstream. And also, that one woman who was testified in support of, this is a famous one, in support of the Obama administration's birth control policies. He said, what does that make her? It makes her a slut, right? Makes her a prostitute.
Yeah.
In talking about how they should have... and then this one made me laugh.
A lot of Rush stuff
Okay,
makes
guys,
me laugh because
don't-
it's just fucking
don't take this
absurd
out
that
of
this guy was on the
context,
radio
yeah.
for 35 fucking years.
Yeah, on the former president of China speaking without a translator. I don't know how to say the former president's name. It's like Hu Jintao or something like that. He's like, Hu Jintao was just going ching cha, ching chang cho chow, cha chow, ching chang chang chong chong cha cha. That's literally a quote from Rush Limbaugh. And it just made me, it
like
just was really
Nick
interesting to see.
Mullen
It's all
puts
in the,
more effort into racist Chinese jokes than that. Like, come on. Jeez. And he'll get
It just was
and he'll
interesting,
get banned off of
yeah.
Instagram.
to see it all listed out like this, and it's all like in this like a quote from like a famous person. This is a Medal of Honor recipient, so it's like the
Yeah,
scripted font,
exactly.
and it's like if the left ever senses and smells that there's no consent in
Oh, God.
in part of the equation,
Here come the
then
rape
here come the rape
police.
police. Yeah, it's if any race of people should not have guilt about slavery, it's Caucasians.
Well, like the Turks.
That's what. Yeah, I just feel like it's really funny that you could have any of those things on someone's headstone, like that they said those things. That
Yeah.
Ron DeSantis on his headstone could say, "All Palestinians are anti-Semitic." Like that's something that could be said, and it's not taken out of context. It's like,
No, yeah.
that's what these people say.
That's what he thinks. Well, I mean, or it's at least what he says. It's a platform that he puts forward. Who knows what he thinks? Who fucking cares? Doesn't matter.
Rush Limbaugh's dead, so.
Oh,
it
I
doesn't
mean Ron
matter.
DeSantis.
No.
Is what I'm saying, but
No, it's just
yeah. Fuck
a lot
Ron
of people
DeSantis
do, and it-
and
Fuck Ron
I mean,
DeSantis.
because it's kind of like that. Like I said, that post 9/11 thing where some of it, especially at this point, where all this stuff is. I mean, it's not that all this stuff is just happening. I mean, this real genocidal freak
suddenly
out.
there's this problem in Israel and Palestine.
Is happening because Israel is, declared war and all that. But especially with it all just coming in through mainstream news because they just kind of, all this stuff's been covered for years and years. But anyway, comparing it to post 9/11 era, I mean, the people that can hold these horrific opinions that, because they're like, and just because they stand with Israel or whatever, it's like, I can give you more leeway because it's crazy how this propaganda machine works, how they manufacture consent through the media and how it's just kind of it's not your fault. But the people who know this stuff, who know at least the basics and make their decision. Yes. I mean, yeah, especially politicians or pundits or, anything like that. And you make your stand, not just someone who feels like they hear that all these people are dying, that all these people die at a festival. They're like, that's horrible. Terrorism happened. That's horrible for Israel. whatever. I mean, it hopefully it just doesn't really matter what your opinion is all that much, but I get why you have it. If you ever learn what is actually going on in that part of the world, hopefully you change your mind. I don't know. But, I mean, because it's so easy just to lump all these people in and be like, fuck all of these genocidal freak pro-fascist maniacs. It's like, that's how it works. That's how it worked after 9/11. That's for sure. You know, but it's like once it was like 2003 and we're talking about the lead up to the war in Iraq and stuff like that, at that point, you know, it's either you talking to a rando at the diner who has to make his opinions known about all those terrorists over in you know, the Middle East or something. It's like, it's been long enough. If you want to voice and have an opinion on this matter, I'm going to have to assume that you at least know the basics and you're making this opinion in good faith. And if you're on the wrong side of history, as time will prove, and you're on the side of fascistic nationalism and colonialism and all this crap, then fuck you. I don't care. I mean, right now it's whatever. But the people spreading the propaganda, people being useful idiots for it because they feel like they have to have an opinion. They have to make sure that they go out on social media and say, I stand with Israel, or, you know, whatever, while we're sending in fucking troops over there and reinforcements. And it just drives me crazy because this is like a moment that is going to be important for even more than just those 2 million fucking people that are about to be wiped off the face of the earth in Palestine. And anyway, it's just like when you get all the goddamn Democrats and liberal redacteds on Twitter with a fucking Ukraine flag in their name, shouting out Israel and standing with Israel. What the fuck is this Ukraine flag in your bio for? Fuck you. Like, it doesn't make any sense. But anyway, okay.
What I find about this, it's like, honestly, I don't give a shit who our allies are.
That's why I didn't want to talk about that. No,
I just really don't care about allyships and all this bullshit, because you know who we're talking about? We're talking about people that have no say in any of this at all. They don't have...
They're not children.
A lot of these are children, people that just don't have any... And you know what I think about even, you know, these troops that get sent in? What a fucking stupid, horrible game we're playing. These people are pawns, and the people who are fighting, Netanyahu and whatever, the leader of Hamas, why don't you guys get into a boxing ring? Why don't you guys duke it out? Huh? How about, why don't you stop sending these other innocent people to die, like legitimately killing children and killing your own troops and stuff for this stupid bullshit? It's like, what do you, I mean, obviously, oh, what, war is bad, oh, hot take or whatever, but all this allyship, it's like our friends in Israel, it's like, so what are Palestinians? If you're not just like an ally, you're an enemy or something. And what does that even mean? It's like, because you're dependent on something for money, that's what makes you an ally? Or what is it that makes someone more of an ally? We're all people here. We're talking about children, guys. People that are born in this place should be able to live in the place that they were born. That's like a human right.
And Israeli civilians too. All of those children over there.
All of these.
All these people
That's
are
what I'm
like,
saying.
well,
These
my
are
country
all
is now
people.
engaging in a war right here. You know?
Yes,
you know how many
that's what
fucking
I'm saying.
Israeli civilians have died at the hands of the IDF so far over the past week? It's like, but the way that you brought it up with Rush Limbaugh and that Ron DeSantis quote, it's like, yeah, you're just seeing this happening as we're just watching in real time someone, standing on their side of the line and being like, yep, I'm going to be on the wrong side of history. Like, we're going to look back at that just like the Iraq War, just like Afghanistan, honestly. Like, I was young, but it was just like, okay, so we're going after Osama bin Laden. It's like, why do we keep talking about the Taliban? What does that have to do with anything? And it's like, oh, it didn't. It's just this fundamentalist group that we propped up before in some sort of proxy war that is now violating human rights.
It's interesting that they think that the answer to it is just brute military force. It's like, what have you guys ever learned from literally any book, any movie, any history lesson? What was the answer? That you should just slaughter women and children?
Because if it's the books for Lockheed Martin or Boeing or Northrop Grumman, those books show that slaughtering all these people
pretty profitable.
and pretty well for them. Yeah. So.
Ooh, yikes. You know what? Isn't that, we were talking about that, profiting off of war seems like probably one of the most disgusting ways to make your money. That literally every single one of the things that you make, all of these, they're not tools, they are weapons. And they are meant to kill people and to do damage, to damage infrastructure. And that doesn't just hurt like some small, and you know what? Even if it does just hurt these troops, these are a lot of times young people. These are people sometimes even as teenagers.
Yeah, the troops, yeah.
Wouldn't that be like the last thing you want to do is for people to die? Isn't that like the absolute very, very last resort? Only when you're backed into a corner and have to fight your way out, or you're just like some insane person, I guess, with like some things. But like literally, it's like so
you're the
few.
Joker.
It should
cool.
be.
It's cool to be insane.
It should be so few and far between that we're engaging in all out like ground wars and invasions and shit like that. It's like, what fucking year is this,
I was just
guys?
gonna say it's 2023. What are we doing?
What are we doing?
We're all stupid. That's the thing.
War. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing.
Say it again.
Ay. I know. It's pretty frustrating. So I just want Ron DeSantis's headstone when he dies to say that he called every Palestinian person anti-Semitic. And I think it wouldn't really matter because he'd be dead, but I would like it.
Yeah.
If he was dead. No.
Yeah, I would like it if we could write that headstone right about now. No. Okay.
It's just weird what people are willing to say and just, like you're saying, be on the wrong side of history.
Yeah.
It's just, that's the whole thing. To end this, for me, this entire thing, this most recent, with the Hamas attack and all the response, what got me the most was how surprised I was at the huge support for Israel.
Yeah.
I thought it would be way more nuanced. People be like, whoa. Hey,
a bunch of people are dying.
Hey,
yeah.
Whoa. Let's calm the fuck down. Not like anything you need, any military power, you'll never have to fight alone.
Wipe
Not like,
them off
hey,
the face
whoa,
of the
guys,
earth.
Whoa. Let's whoa.
It's like, gosh, I thought that Free Palestine was a little more common. I mean, before the terrorist attack, because it's like, Hamas is
because I work with a Palestinian person, so I
was like, it's like, and if you're running any sort of leftist circles at all, especially online or something, Free Palestine, Israel is an apartheid state, has been over and over again. Gaza is an open air prison, and all that, and then but then you realize once it happens, it's like, that's a bubble that really felt bad when it popped. When it was like, fuck, other people just aren't on the same page. They're on the wrong side. I'm in the minority, and everything through media and socially is telling me that you're wrong. And you're not, because all you have to do is have empathy for human beings. And, okay, I don't have to keep talking about this.
Okay, whatever.
That was a really nice one. Thanks,
good discussion.
Inane Blather.
Yeah, so,
thank you. I think we just solved the crisis in the Middle East.
No, there's so much more. I mean, I don't want to just constantly be sucking Hassan's dick, but I was glad that...
I do.
Yeah. No, I mean, not constantly. I have to take time out for the podcast. But we're like... Welcome back to Inane Blather. But...
I said the Constitution could suck me from the back, Doug.
Okay.
Stop.
Okay, there we go.
Suck me from the back.
but but I'm not allowed to.
Thanks a lot, Puritans.
Nice. Oh, that's a good. Wow, I haven't heard that in a while.
Yeah, sorry, but yeah, there's only 80 sounds on the soundboard right now. So,
Well, then why aren't you playing them all right now?
I'll line that up for the next show.
You little poopy bitch.
But it's just, I mean, I just don't know enough about the international stuff, but I know that Hassan has made himself look like a fool many times in terms of his takes on international politics, especially with what happened in Ukraine, and a lot of people just stopped listening to him about any of that stuff. So it's like, I don't know. It's like, but he's smarter than I am, and
Who's right 100% of the time? He's a god. He's not Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, you never know. You find out that Second Thought is like a fascist when it comes to his pro-Palestine takes, practically, one of those 1948ers. Anyway, just that the simple go-to thought of like that I was saying before, where it's like, why is it like these two states and then Israel's oppressing and they're colonizing and pushing people out and all this? It's like, why isn't it all just one place? And then it's like, you just say, I mean, you have to maybe go in by force or whatever it might be, or have the UN closely monitor this, set up a fucking democracy, do the type of shit that we wanted to do in the Middle East as America, which was all a lie. But it's like a democratic republic, and you guys live there, because then the only problem would be between religious fundamentalists and extremists, which goes by the wayside if you improve people's material conditions, And so it's like, and anyway, so it's like, yeah, why isn't it all just one? And then when I heard Hassan say, he's like, and I've always been an advocate of just a one-state solution where everyone just has to live together and stuff. I was like, yeah, okay, I'm not crazy. Other people think that too. It's like, I don't understand this two-state bullshit. Like, I don't understand why that'd be.
What I don't understand
is wanting war is all that is. It's so stupid.
That's what, honestly, what I feel about like leaders is like that they're just fucking cowards. They don't want to have these hard conversations. They don't want to talk face to face, so they just send troops out to literally die and bomb children.
And then
that's what we do instead of literally using your words like we tell toddlers to do. You fucking morons that get children killed.
Yeah.
You can't take a conversation and have someone take you to task on some of the decisions that you're making. You can't handle that, so you're just gonna like start a literal war. Yeah, women are way too fucking emotional to ever be in charge here.
Well, see, and then it just leads to the imbalance of power. Leads to the only people who don't have that so-called cowardice are insane people, and so then the only things that change the status quo are things like a terrorist group taking over the subjugated country and killing civilians in Israel. And it's like, yeah.
Literally, what we talk about here in America is violent revolution to get what we're like, we have to do something. Like, we can't change. Our party system is broken. There's nothing that's going to get us out of this. Like, literally, because they won't listen, they won't talk, and they won't learn. The leaders, like a lot of world leaders, in America, are pathetic. They just don't, like, they're just, it's like,
it's because they're just
caricatures of like bluff and bluster and bullshit.
Like to just have some power and then die.
And they like to have the screen time, and they like to have bullshit. Like, here in America, what the fuck are you guys talking about? Like, half the time. Like, what are you doing? And we're all like, people are literally just dying in the streets here. We're pledging our support to this other government over here, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, but what are you guys actually like doing?
And even with the crumbling of America around us as we speak, having completely inept leadership, cowardice, corruption, and all that still doesn't lead to what's happening in Palestine, because the floor is so much higher, because our basic material conditions are so much better than living in the world's largest open-air prison, being so far past corruption that you end up... I mean, it's like if we,
If everyone in America was treated like a black
elected
person.
the KKK to change the status quo, and they took over and never held elections again. And anyway.
That was a really nice one. Thanks, Inane Blather.
Stop.
Okay, so let's go to something else. I was just gonna look.
Something light, like gun violence in America or something.
Hey, how about
actually, I was
in
thinking,
a victory for labor?
You know what, though?
More than 250 workers at the Alamo Drafthouse movie theaters in Lower Manhattan and Brooklyn unionize in strong pro-union votes, becoming the first Alamo Drafthouses in the nation to unionize.
Woo woo.
Okay.
Nice.
What else?
There's some good news.
Yeah, speaking of, it's like, it'd be funny to be that dumb of conspiracy theorist, like, oh, it's kind of interesting that the United Auto Workers go on strike and suddenly there's a war in Israel. What are they really trying to distract us from? Meanwhile, like 3,000 people are dead. But the UAW is still, they just voted to expand their strikes, I'm pretty sure. So, I don't know. I don't know how the Democrats think they're going to get any gains in 2024 without really getting on this pro-labor movement that's going on.
Doing something?
I mean, even if they don't do anything, because they're not going to
which they
do
won't.
anything.
Yeah.
But they really need to ride this wave. And I think part of that would really involve these fucking capitalist pigs that go hand in hand with the lamestream media. No, but
nice.
I mean, a lot of this like kind of liberal haven stuff is always so anti-labor, of course. I mean, all of the neoliberal garbage from Clinton onwards and stuff. And so that's why it's so unbalanced and always has been on things like MSNBC and CNN. I mean, taking Fox and right-wing stuff just out of the picture. They need to stop worrying about any of that, for one thing. And they need to actually, they need to be closer to Bernie Sanders than they do, I don't know, Nancy Pelosi, whatever. It's just like,
Joe
it's just
Biden?
like, oh man, there's these things that they're so, or Joe Biden. I mean, Joe Biden is actually pretty good on labor for the most part, but all it takes is one huge slip up, PR wise, with that railroad union strike, which it seemed like he had caved and fucked over the workers. And even so, he actually didn't and continued getting them through negotiations after he already got fucked in the media, and got them a little bit more of what they wanted. And I mean, it was still a technical win for the workers. It wasn't the best. They deserve more, just like all workers deserve more in this country. But
of course.
But like, it's like, well, why doesn't anyone know about that? Because the Democrats are so bad at this. They're so bad at riding a wave of populism. They're so bad with populism and
Joe
pro-labor.
Biden had more
work.
people vote for him than any other person in like American history, and they weren't able to ride any of that to do anything.
And now he's
so
got
I'm
an
not
approval rating of
surprised.
like 43% or some shit like that. It's like, good God, dude. I mean, he should have already stepped out of the way, said he wasn't going. Even I hate it so much, but even like Kamala, like anything, just get some other person who's not a senile bicycle crashing guy with rabid dogs in the White House,
oh man, that's so funny.
and just anyone else, and like just even with the hollow garbage corporatist Democrat thing, just crafting the right strategy to ride the wave of popular issues like workers' rights, this labor movement, the wins that have happened over the past year with Starbucks, the Writers Guild, what will eventually be the United Auto Workers, I bet, will hopefully go well because things, it all snowballs when you start getting all this labor action, but it needs support and ongoing highlights, of what's going on. But
let us know you're doing something or something's happening.
yeah, or
Please.
I'm just saying, just as a slimy politician bullshit, just saying that you're on their side. Like, it's just like so many of these shitheels are just pro big business. They're pro big business and Wall Street and all this horse shit. It's just,
And again, what did they ever learn from a movie or a
Yes.
book or whatever? Have you ever seen any of these things that are about those industries? About the people at top? They're like literally pretty much never the hero besides Batman, and that's been retold in a different way to see him as in a different light, even because
Batman's a cop.
And Iron Man getting a lot of criticism for being hoarding his all the technology that he makes and stuff, and like, what a piece of shit. Like, how could you do that? It's like we're really seeing who the bad guys are, and people still really, you know what? I guess I don't know, but it must be nice to be rich. It must be really nice to be rich because that would keep you from having.
You're not missing anything, man.
Keeps you from having a conscience.
Yeah.
I guess maybe they do sleep well at night because they're not thinking about anything.
Yeah.
Because they don't have a conscience anymore,
Sure.
I guess.
You can't when you're that rich, you can't have a conscience if you're going to be today's Tony Stark, a.k.a. Elon Musk.
Iluma.
Yeah, where you just walk into
I
a
love
room
you.
and you can just tell everyone, "Sit down," and they will. So, but and then on the way out, you just tell everyone else,
Suck my dick, idiot.
and then just walk out. That would be the best
And they're
part about
like,
being that rich. Yeah, is just being able to say whatever you want. But another one, see all this labor action. It just needs to be highlighted more. After over a year of organizing, 600 doctors have won the largest private physicians union in the country. These doctors at Alena Health Systems in Minneapolis have unionized with the Doctors Council. They joined the wave of healthcare workers organizing to win better conditions. Stuff like that, where it's like, what the hell? More Perfect Union retweeted this?
the hell?
Or what is this? Retweeted a thing from George Takei highlighted saying, "Oh, Dolly Parton, you truly are a treasure." God, Twitter is so strange. It doesn't look like it's no, it's an ad. And it didn't say ad at the top. I was like, what the fuck? Anyway.
I was like, what the fuck?
What's going on over here? But or just the we didn't go over Tim Pool's absolutely idiotic reaction to the idea floated in Chicago of a publicly owned grocery store. I don't think we went over that on the show. I'm sure you saw that. I mean, our Lord and Savior Aaron Brown did go over it. But Tim Pool's idiocy aside, and I don't know where.
That's most of his personality.
Yeah.
So
I don't know where Tim Pool's stuff went in my soundboard, which sucks because I'm missing some. What was it? It was like psychotic, deranged, cultist liars.
Yeah.
But
he's like,
I do have on
he
the
gets so
soundboard.
mad.
I have a recording of Tim Pool's inner monologue, the workings of his brain. That's what it sounds like. But what's his name? Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago.
Johnson?
Brandon Johnson.
I don't know. Penis. Yeah.
And talking about a publicly owned grocery store, in an urban area, something to serve the needs of the community, stuff like that. of course, for any leftist, it's like, yes, please, yes, exactly.
Yes.
But what I didn't know, there were a few examples of this, especially in instead of like in urban underserved area like that, rural examples of this happening that R.M. Brown brought up on this episode. Which I recommend everyone see. I think it might have been a Patreon episode. So join the Patreon. It's only $2,
For just $2 a month.
Yeah. Without the beautiful patrons, it would just be...
Where would we
It
be?
would just be garbage.
Garbage.
With all the disgusting garbage juice or whatever.
Spoiled milk.
But anyway.
Is that what you want?
Yeah, these examples of... a grocery store like going under, and they'd really have nothing else, and where the city like took it over on like a temporary thing that became like an ongoing thing. I mean, and it's a nonprofit, and it's a fucking grocery store. It's a nonprofit grocery store. Like, come on.
Like a co-op?
I don't even think it's a co-op, but of course there are examples of co-ops working. That was always popular in West Olympia when I was there. You just put in a couple hours here and there helping out at the co-op, and you can get good food and stuff. But this one was more like just a regular grocery store, so I think there was even more like normal food stuffs and stuff like that, because that whole process is already streamlined. And it just made me think of where I live, and like the grocery store here, and how, I shop there when I can, but I'm not rich, man.
Can't always.
But produce and sometimes meat, often meat, but especially produce is a good deal, and you can get stuff that's local because it's a rural area surrounded by agriculture. But everything else is outrageous sometimes. Some things that's like, "Ooh, that's a little more expensive than I get at a grocery outlet." But something like cheese, I'm like, good God, people pay for this? Like, this is $9.
Who buys this?
Yeah, exactly.
I've been sitting there for
or
like
if you
2
have to get, like,
years.
cat litter or something, it's like, oh my God, it's so expensive. But if it eventually goes under or something, because there's a Walmart only 11 miles away or something, and there's a fucking Dollar General in town now, which is terrifying, then it's like, it would just be gone, It's not like that would just, it should just be something. This is just something that should be discussed. This should be a normal conversation, like as
Every
an option.
city should have a grocery store.
For a city, like for a city-run grocery store, shouldn't be some weird thing. Because it's funny. It would be an actual example of like, well, that's kind of socialist. It's like, yeah. Exactly. It's one of the good things.
Like a public library.
Yeah. We have a great library here, by the way. But
it's interesting. You have a public library and no public source of food.
yes.
The thing you need to survive. Obviously, I think libraries should exist.
Yeah.
But it's like, why wouldn't, we talk about the hierarchy of needs.
No, we don't.
Let's see,
We've
water,
never. No,
food, and shelter. Yeah.
Internet
Hierarchy of
access,
wants.
which actually is pretty
Yeah.
important, but you have that at the library.
I had an article open. I was just going to mention something, and I went back to it, and there's an ad on it, and it's huge. It's taking up like most of the screen, and it says mostly white and like really boring text.
It lit
says,
up your face.
Bladder leak solution. Yeah. Easy, external, and effective. I want to show you how
6,000
big
holes.
this ad is.
They're like, you need a solution.
Only had
You little
6,001.
poopy
Yeah. I poop out of my
You're
bladder.
pooping the bed?
Yep.
Yeah. No, why is it so wild to think about people having access to
Yeah.
food?
Well, how it's just wild to think about people getting food without someone profiting somewhere. Like, where's the profit going? Who's making the money?
Like,
it's
remember,
like, what
guys,
about people just getting food to eat? That'd be
food.
nice.
It's food.
Yeah, and Tim Pool, when he was talking about it, he was like, oh, just eventually it'll just be all these just unmarked generic brands. It's going to be trash. It's like, well, I already get generic store brands from the giant corporation, though. It's like, sorry, Tim. I buy Great Value when I'm at Walmart. I'm not going to buy Kellogg just because it says Kellogg on it. Sorry, bro. But
like, what a simp.
Yeah.
Simp for these corporations.
Dang,
So embarrassing. Oh my
that
God.
advertisement, it is just a white box that just says bladder leak solution. Wow. I mean, did you click on it?
It surprised me. Obviously, I've already got it on order. Hurry, rush shipping.
So I got in a car accident.
Actually,
we could talk about that. No.
Yeah, I heard. No one cares, Doug.
No one cares.
Actually, what I was looking up, you're fine. God, stop. Who cares? You broke
my
2
neck
arms,
hurts
Doug.
a little bit. Maybe I should call that insurance company back.
Just because it's at that weird angle now doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it.
You always
kids
had
nowadays.
those ridged bumps along the back of your neck like a Dilophosaurus.
Where your spine was sticking out of your skin.
Yes, exactly.
I just feel like
Yes, so you could
I was
barely
actually
put you get your collar shut when you put a suit on for the funeral.
Yeah, that's what the problem was.
It's like,
I thought you were crying because of the funeral. You're just in pain.
Yeah, I couldn't even see what was going on. What else we can?
What I was looking at was Jim Jordan and all the stuff about they're voting tomorrow on the House speakership vote, and kind of reading this, and it's like journalist this is the New York Post, and the way that these these.
Sorry, I just saw the Piers Morgan article headline.
Yeah, I know. The politicians, how they're talking about this vote is okay. This one guy, Diaz Balart, whoever this guy is, I don't know. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but he's like, a little advice if anybody's going to try to get my vote. The last thing you want to do is try to pressure me because then I close out entirely.
Oh my God.
If folks think that they can pressure me, that's where they lose me. Okay. Then I want to say, let's see.
Then you say that just makes me want to do the opposite more.
Then this one, what's her face? Victoria Sparks.
My ex-wife. No. Victoria.
She says she would only vote for Jordan if her vote is the deciding one. If he doesn't have 217, the best I can do is maybe vote present. I'm okay to be 217, but if he has 210, I'm not going to be 211.
What the fuck does that mean?
Okay, that's exactly. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? Like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? Are there any sort of values or any sort of stance that you have, or any sort of beliefs that you're upholding?
Politics with no policy. just
oh man,
where politics is actually just drama that happens to be happening in the legislature.
And it's about these individuals, and it's like, who the fuck are you guys representing? Just yourselves. You're just talking about yourselves on this issue, and you are representing, some of you are representing a lot of people here. This is you're supposed to be a voice for us because of some stance you have on some issues. Jim Jordan is an election denying fucking pedophile allowing freak that should not be allowed. He's in trouble with all that wrestling.
God.
I fucking hate that guy. And it's like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? You're saying, well, if we had the votes here, if we had the... It's seriously it's like Veep. It's so incredibly devoid of any policy whatsoever. It's all about their own ego. It's so... Just what are you guys even talking about? But then at the end, they started talking about tying, Ukraine funding with money for Israel, and it was funny because it's Jim Jordan, he's,
it's so fucking stupid that they want to support Ukraine and Israel.
I know, that they deny funding for Ukraine and want to give funding to Israel or whatever. They kind of talk a little bit about
would
that,
actually
but
make
most
sense.
of
At least then
It was-
you're on board with your
Well, sure.
your fascist invaders. Okay.
Yeah, well, those guys for sure. But it just is interesting, like how most of this article is just about like, okay, so Mike Kelly from Pennsylvania. Let's see. Planned to back Steve Scalise,
Yeah.
who initially edged out
What happened
Jordan
with him? He pulled out.
in that closed door speaker thing. It was like, so they had to like double sealed ballots and stuff. I'm like, say it with your fucking chest.
I
Every
think-
single vote you guys make, should be public.
No, I think for
You guys
stuff
shouldn't be-
like this, it's not policy, it's not legislation. I think it would be interesting
Oh, yeah,
and
Steve
would
Scalise dropped out
probably
of the
get
race.
it done quicker. And I forget. I think I just read a comment that someone made about it, but where it's like if they could vote for Speaker of the House on a secret ballot. So that there none of it is this drama of, but Gates didn't want to vote for this and Marjorie Taylor. If it was a
So
secret ballot, imagine
pathetic.
like it would get done. They'd probably end up with Hakeem Jeffries or something like that. They'd probably have a Democrat in charge. Like, because
That's even worse. That they can't say it with their
Exactly.
chest. They can't be honest. That's so fucking pathetic. They're such miserable, the worst examples of leaders, because you know what leaders do? They're out there fucking saying what they believe, especially when they're supposed to be representing people based off of like their values and stuff. You should be open to everything. You should be saying, this is how I feel, this is how I'm going to vote. And if you're such a fucking spineless coward, what are you even doing in this position when you can't even stand up for something that you believe in? You have to hide behind a secret ballot so you don't, it might hurt someone's feelings. Like, how old are you guys? We have higher standards for middle schoolers than we do for our fucking Congress. It's pathetic. It is so embarrassing that this is our leadership. They're such... Oh my God. Like this one guy, Mike Kelly, I'm going to vote the way I voted the first election we had. Integrity is the most important thing all of us have. There's nothing more important than that. When I see what's going on in that conference and understand that we had an election and we elected somebody, and because people in that conference didn't agree with the election, no, we've got to stop it all. We've got to have another election. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, what the fuck are you even saying? What are you guys even talking about? Like, they're like... They're just embarrassing excuses for adults. Like, there is so much a higher standard for almost every profession.
Yeah.
Besides theirs. And they're the most important in that literally their decisions, talking about military aid to Ukraine and Israel, they affect billions of people.
Well, that's why I'm saying
America has a gigantic
those
effect.
things
that
affect people, of course. Yeah, it should. This is all with leadership. I'm saying I would be on board with inside. For their own good. That's
exactly for their own good, because they're such children.
Exactly.
We have to do it this way.
Interior political stuff, because then it isn't. It just wouldn't be swayed by the actual party infrastructure. The reason it's not about hurting feelings. These people don't give a fuck about other people's feelings. They care about being.
I have to get on Matt Gaetz's bad side.
Well, yeah, but he's nothing. But it's like, but they care about.
He's the one that got Kevin McCarthy out,
and he's probably not going to last long because of that.
Little bitch.
Because of party infrastructure, because of the RNC and the DNC and campaign funds and getting primaried. That's why they wouldn't want to speak out about it. And so it's all these internal political arguments that don't like voting on Speaker of the House doesn't directly affect.
I want to know who my fucking
legislation.
representative voted for the Speaker of the House. I elected that representative to represent me. I get to know every single fucking thing that they vote on. That's what they do. They're public fucking servants. And I think that if you have to do a Band-Aid solution to put it in private because they literally can't get outside of it's like that is not going to fix anything. That just shows how incredibly broken our party system is.
The Speaker of the House thing is it's like it's all internal to the House. It's like if they voted to what temperature to set the fucking thermostat. Like, that's what it should be.
So?
the whole
No,
problem,
but
the
it's
problem
not.
is that they're third in line to the presidency if something happens. So that's the issue.
Yeah. They're like doing these votes in the House and all this kind of crap. They're like an important figure, and everything should be so much more transparent, and it's just pathetic that they would have to go to those means because of how the two-party system. It's like,
Yeah.
like, again,
That's what I'm saying.
What are you guys talking about?
Because
What
of
kind of
party
values?
infrastructure,
Like,
they can't do what they say because they'll get primaried. Because if they actually do what... Because if they actually vote with their chest in the way that their constituents put them in office to do, their constituents will then vote them out. I mean, part of the reason is we're a bunch of fucking raving lunatic animal idiots in terms of a voting public in the United States. And those are the
because
people
we have
that
these
vote.
morons misinforming
Yes,
us. Because we have these absolute
circle of
fucking
life.
morons. God, I wonder how Hamas happened. I wonder how people get so frustrated that they get, like, Jesus fucking Christ. They're so, like, Matt Gaetz, those guys. I just really, it's like, how old are you?
Well, what's even funnier is
And
then
then Matt Gaetz
when
is
Matt
like-
Gaetz goes up there and actually says his piece in front of the House, a lot of his stuff is pretty legitimate grievances. A lot of his stuff, it's like when he was speaking out against McCarthy and saying, hey, we put you in this position so that you do blank, blank, and blank. A, B, and C. None of that has happened. Like, he was just like tearing him a new one. It's like, well, this sucks even more because he's right. And it's like,
He's a pedophile.
well, yeah. No, but I mean, in terms of like his stance on the politics of it, I was like, well, he's got you there, Kevin.
what-
You haven't done shit. You suck.
I know.
But it's like, well, they can't replace him with
guys-
anyone because the Republicans are in charge and the Republicans can't govern. They just can't do it. They don't intend to do it. And so if there's any issue
hate
along
them.
the way like this, they are going to fall completely into disarray. They're going to trip over their own shoelaces and land on their nuts somehow, and the American people get to suffer
If they had
as a result
any.
of it.
Yeah. If they had
Like
any balls.
that's the only time it feels good. I mean, that's the only time where it's preferable to have feckless morons like the Democrats in charge. It's like, well, at least they know how to like keep the car running. They didn't put someone in. I don't know. They didn't think it's okay to push the driver out and then argue over who's going to get behind the wheel while we're driving over a bridge. It's just, oh my God.
Yeah, and Jim Jordan, if he gets Speaker of the House, the government's definitely going to shut down. It's going to be all this stupid bullshit. People are going to lose their jobs. It's going to be like all this difficult stuff. And like, again, like, what are you guys doing?
Here.
Just like, what are you doing?
Oh, yeah. You can't, it's an unanswerable question. The Onion stands with Israel because it seems like you get in less trouble for that. Is the headline here of The Onion. Past week has shown
Nice.
humanity at its worst. A horrific terrorist attack left at least 1,300 Israelis dead, among them peace activists and even innocent children. The fates of many more kidnapped civilians still lie in the balance. Meanwhile, statements from Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu suggest retaliation against Palestinians in Gaza will be swift and merciless. More than 1,500 Gazans are already dead, and 338,000 others have been displaced. In moments of turmoil such as this, some believe it is the responsibility of a newspaper of record like The Onion to delve fully into the nuances of a complex and multifaceted conflict that stretches back not just decades but centuries. These people are wrong. Instead, this editorial board wishes to take this opportunity to declare its full and unequivocal support for Israel because, frankly, it seems like you get in way less trouble for that. Let us be clear. Let us be clear. This is a fraught moment,
us.
and one that has polarized not only Americans, but people all over the world. It demands incredible sensitivity and strict adherence to journalistic standards of objectivity, and simply put, that is something we aren't willing to do. Rather, we're just going to say The Onion expresses its steadfast solidarity with Israel and leave it at that. Why? First, because its editorial board doesn't like getting yelled at. Second, there are going to be way fewer people with way less power mad at us. So, this is good. We don't want to go up against the entire U.S. government, which through President Biden has expressed its unwavering support for Israel. Finally, and more importantly, it's because we don't want to, and you can't make us. You can't. You seriously can't. You cannot make us do all of this hard stuff, ever. Seriously. Furthermore, we should remember that unpacking this conflict in an adequately thorough manner would require examining it through a diverse range of lenses, such as anti-Semitism, Islamic fundamentalism, the Holocaust, imperialism, contact theory, and many more, all while keeping in mind valid but competing narratives of victimhood that span hundreds of years. And we sure as hell aren't going to mention apartheid. That sounds like an enormous headache. Even worse, our reward for that would be mobs of people screaming at us online. Why would we do that? Alternatively, we could simply say, Israel must be fully supported in its military campaign to root out evil in all of its hiding places. That 19-word sentence would save us the trouble of engaging with this difficult situation. So we're going to go with that one. Does that make sense? What do you think it does? Our stance becomes increasingly compelling when one considers some alternative scenarios. For instance, The Onion could theoretically say that it stands in solidarity with the bombing victims in Gaza. What would happen then? People would get mad at us. They could threaten our careers. How about if we said we believe the loss of innocent life is wrong no matter what the nationality? That would also result in people getting mad at us. Sometimes these would be different people getting mad, but that doesn't really change things on our end. And most significantly, it would hurt our quarterly revenue, which is the worst tragedy imaginable. For those reasons and many more, we are not going to be endorsing any of those perspectives. Instead, the stance of standing unwaveringly with Israel, now and forever, seems to really be the sweet spot for those looking to avoid dealing with all of this shit. What of the tens of thousands of Palestinian civilians killed before this attack? Some may ask. Our response is simply that we aren't going to engage with that because it would be too hard. We also won't be addressing Palestinians living in refugee camps without access to clean water, electricity, or housing. Others may ask, isn't it your responsibility to provide context, particularly on thorny issues such as this one? To that, we merely say, no, shut up, you're being annoying. Perhaps someone call on us to point out the obvious moral hypocrisy of those far-left Americans who bandy about terms like war criminal while turning a blind eye to what amounts to an unconscionable war crime on the part of Hamas. We are also not going to do that. Why? Because people will get angry with us. Extremely irritating people, to be clear. And we just don't want to deal with it. We have enough going on without them getting on our case. The water main broke in our office last Friday, and dealing with the super has been a whole thing. He keeps avoiding our calls because obviously he's going to have to eat the cost of the sump pump. There's also a bunch of ad sales stuff that we're negotiating with the business side. So why would we add defending ourselves against online criticism over one of the most incendiary topics in human history to the list of headaches we're already dealing with? Why?
It's been a whole thing.
The answer is that we won't. Some may call us cowards for our decision. To this, we can only say the following. If a coward is a person who avoids taking a difficult stance on topics for personal expediency, then coward is a badge this editorial board will gladly wear again and again and again. There.
Nice.
Well, they summed up all of their actual competitors' positions.
The Onion, man.
They're great.
They do. They really hit the target.
I
That's
stand
funny
with the
way to
Onion
put it because
against their super.
I was just thinking about one of the things I saw that was like the title of the video was school shooter had a history of school shootings,
God.
you know? Like
Okay.
I know. I love the Onion. They're
Oh my God.
thanks for standing with
These-
Israel, the Onion.
I kind of scrolled down and it said, to Stultus S, the Onion editorial board, And these signatures, all I know is that one of these is Ted Kaczynski. There's all these real signatures
Yikes.
on there.
Yeah.
And Steve Hanna. Okay. Okay. Well, let's get going. I love you. Shout out
bye.
to Emily.
I love you so much. Emily, oh yeah, we should have shouted her out so she didn't have to listen to all that crap we were talking
too
about.
bad. You gotta wait till the end. I guess you could just scroll to
Yeah.
it. I mean, it's not like we're a live radio broadcast. Imagine doing that. Imagine doing
Yeah.
that for a living and not being
Who
able to
would
swear.
listen?
Ugh, the worst.
No. Fuck no.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, and Zach and R.M. Brown, because he's definitely listening. And
yeah.
Hassan.
And shout out to Wendy.
And, yeah.
And,
Let's see,
and
yeah.
small towns
Cool.
everywhere with
Kelsey.
people feeling alone amidst a sea of Trump insanity. Oh boy, I saw another great.
You're not alone. You're in the majority, babes.
I just saw a sign just outside of town when I was coming back in. Big sign right over the main road. Don't blame me. I voted for Trump. There's so many things wrong with that. Anyway, okay. Love you. Shout out to Aaron Brown, Lord and Savior.
I love you too. Amen.
Okay. Love you. Bye.
Bye.